Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Touhou Project Mania Cup 4th edition. It is time for the moment you've all been waiting for to finally wrap up the semifinals weekend and put a bow on this wonderful weekend. It's time to showcase what the remaining 6 players in this tournament will be playing next week in that sweet, sweet finals showcase. As always, I am Sunny commentating, and alongside with me will be a new face, Nathaniel. How's it going?
Hell yeah, been a very long time since I've commentated Oceania, so we might be a little bit washed here and there. This is actually my debut as well commentating in this tournament. Before this tournament started, I was kind of looking forward to it. I got the invite, and I've been really struggling with time over the past few weeks. So, finals Mappool showcase being the first one that we get at this tournament. I'm looking forward to it. I've had a look through the maps just before the stream started, get myself familiar with how things are looking, and oh my, it's looking crazy. The fact that finals is not even the final round, there's still grand finals. Oh, but it's crazy.
Yeah, like I also took a look at the maps beforehand, and I thought we skipped a week. I thought we were at grand finals, but no, we are still in the finals, ladies and gentlemen. So we hope you enjoy the maps that we have for you. I think we could just jump straight into it, starting off with our first rice pick. It's gonna be Rice 1.
Rice 1, the speed map of the pool, straight into the replay, no time to waste. Now, this map being a speed map, this map specifically got a very slow intro, kind of just build up for what's to come. It does get into it pretty fast, and this map is incredibly burst heavy. Now, this is predominantly 1.6, 1.8, so the BPM of the right 175 BPM is somewhat of a lie. It is mostly 350 BPM, which at this level is incredibly fast. Would not be surprised to see many people losing a lot of accuracy, mainly 300s there on a map like this.
It definitely bears striking resemblance to our Rice 1 pick in the semifinals, which was, I believe it's UFO Romance, which kind of follows that same structure, but I believe it was just a tad bit slower at 336 BPM at its peak. So this is only about a 14 BPM jump, and heading into the Ki section, or the main drop, yeah, you can see things definitely can kind of have a step up. There's definitely a lot more of those tricky mini jacks that you kind of have to balance with those nasty streams that are more focused of kind of transitioning from your index to your outside fingers. So there's a lot you have to juggle with this map.
Yeah, the mini jacks definitely very easy to drop combo on. Replayer doing a very good job at holding onto that combo, and the slower sections of this map still very fast, sitting at 263 BPM. So don't lose your focus at these sections. Still a quarter of the map left to go, and by this point, this map is only 2.5 minutes long, but can feel like an eternity with how high the BPM is. Very roll heavy, single streams, and just really does not let go for the entire map, really.
Yeah, pretty much once it starts, it does not stop. And I guess the only really breaks you can really get are like that one section you just saw, and even then, that's pretty much a stretch calling it a break. And we're right back in it, kind of closing off this map with some ending streams that then again kind of have that transition from the index out to the outward side of your part of your fingers with some pretty nasty, that nasty ending right there. But it ends pretty abruptly, and that will be your Rice 1 pick, Sound of Carnation, your speed pick.
Yeah, and the
fairly
main
short and
takeaway
simple
from this map, definitely those mini jacks can throw you off very easily, scattered throughout the map. Every 1-1 beat, I believe. So very, very careful on those patterns. Don't want to choke on that. But yes, as you say, that is the Rice 1 speed map. let's get into race 2, our jump stream speed pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be Don't Let You Down. Mapped by YuEast, a very well-known mapper. I think is probably one of the most notable mappers in this tournament, period. This map starts at roughly 270 BPM jump stream, as those are all 1/8. You can, with the main takeaway with this chart, I would say, with comparing it in contrast to our last Rise 2, which was Taishoku Reality, it is a bit shorter than that map. This one being 3 minutes, while the last one was 3.5. So it's a lot less of worry, as well as lots of roll sections, as you just saw right there, in like these break sections, and some trills as well that can definitely throw you off in between sections.
Yeah,
but mainly it's just. Alright, go ahead.
Where it picked up. This is the first ki of the map, and a pattern that you will notice in this map in particular is every single ki that it throws at you very trilly, very one-hand trill focused, with the occasional index trills thrown in the mix as well. But yeah, like you said, the slower sections are mainly focused on your rolls and just, I guess we could say, speed, whereas the ki's are very trilly, very awkward, and definitely chokeable. And on a map like this, like at 3 minutes 8 seconds, each ki does last quite a bit.
Yeah, in that break section right there was lots of rolly based bursts with some midi jacks sprinkled in there. So most of this map kind of just has you on your feet. You can't really take your foot off the pedal with this map. And then there's this section here that is probably the most tame section of this map, kind of just prepping you up before the next set of jump streams kind of are thrown at you. And then again, this is at 270 BPM, which is not the biggest of jumps from the semifinals chart, which was 260. So that's only a 10 BPM increase, but that can do a lot, especially with the incorporation of this map being a lot more trilly, as you can see there. You're definitely focusing on more of your right hand when it comes to the trills. And like you also mentioned, there are some index trills mixed in with these jump streams. So if you're fairly comfortable with balancing out those two components, then this map would be a breeze for you. But I think also once you hit this mark where you're nearing the final quarter of the map, your stamina would probably start to drain out a bit. Maybe your consistency is starting to fail. You really got to also keep in check your stamina on how well you can do on this.
Stamina map, 3 minutes long, especially with the amount of trills and how long the ki's last. There are 2 main ki's in this map, and that takes up definitely over half the chart at minimum. Now, OD 8.2, that is probably roundabout average, as you'd expect on a map like this, but 270 BPM, that's kind of the main takeaway from this map. Now, consistency, if you've got it, if you can manage 270 BPM just fine, then I think on a map like this, it's just really don't choke on those trills. Right, that's kind of the main thing with this map, and if you have that, then you're probably going to be fine on this. This will be a good pick for you, but I know a lot of people, especially 270 BPM, we're getting into some very rough territory now at this stage in the tournament.
And also, OD 8.2 as well, so not very forgiving of the judgments if you do find any form of break or even some bad judgments. But without further ado, that will wrap up Rice 2, your jump stream speed pick. We can now transition into Rice 3, which will be the more stamina focused jump stream pick. I know you thought that last map was more stamina focused or more stamina consuming. This is the quote stamina jump stream pick, and this is Crazy Aliens mapped by Hina. This is 8.5 OD, 260 BPM, and this is a lengthy chart, almost 4 minutes and a quarter. That is a lot of time of just jump stream.
Yeah, and this song does bear some resemblance to the good old Galaxy Collapse. If that doesn't sound familiar to you, then I don't know, you didn't even play the game. But yes, jump stream, stamina. Now the very first half of this map is pretty basic, jump stream slash hand stream. It really is kind of build up, warm up for the end of the map, but don't get me wrong, this is still incredibly difficult, 260 BPM with these patterns as well. We see some rolls there, 1/16, so gotta be careful of those, especially with these flams as well. And the split trill, oh my goodness, right before the break. Gotta be careful we don't miss on that. Accuracy on that is going to be a hell of a pain, but now we're into this break section. Only a quarter of the way through the map, 4 minutes does sound very daunting, and indeed it is.
Yeah, but thankfully this map has a couple of break sections like you mentioned. It does start to build itself back up before it heads into the next drop. And the main takeaway is just that if you're more on that more physical side and you don't really worry about accuracy, this would be your pick right here. Maybe your strategy is just trying to beat out your opponents physically. This would be a great pick to hold off and maybe protect, or go in a bit late into your match. Just kind of have it stored in your back pocket. And we're heading into a bit of a jack section that is kind of just a curveball at you before it transitions right back into some jump stream mixed in with hand stream.
Yeah, and this is mainly the bulk of the map. This is maybe the most densest part of the map with some nasty one-hand trills on both hands there. And especially with this song at its peak. Already at 2,400 combo, and still, look at the pie chart at the top, only halfway through the map. This is a stamina killer, and it does not end. This non-stop jump stream, 260 BPM, and also take note of these anchors, long jacks on one hand throughout that section, and that is maybe the hardest part of the map out the way. A third of the map left to go, and this is going to be a stamina test for the rest of it. A full minute of map left to go. But before then, we still have this break.
Yeah, and ooh, that I feel like somebody would mess up on that trill. That one-handed right-hand trill right there. That feels like a place where people would choke if you're not careful. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse, now add some split trill into your jump stream. That is not an easy transition, especially at 260 BPM. That is going to be an absolute pain to go through. And I mean, you're just wondering how much is there really left. And I mean, there's only really an eighth left to go, but it just feels like the map just doesn't end afterwards. And lots more of these rolls and bursts starting to be incorporated into the final section of the map. And the jump streams just continue. And I mean, like I mentioned, if you're one of those more physically based players that you don't really focus on your accuracy that much, and you can play a map like this swimmingly, this would be a map that you want to store in your back pocket and not really use until maybe your opponents are starting to get more tired in the match. But just like that, the map does conclude, and that will be your jump stream stamina pick.
And I think that's actually something you're probably going to be saying quite a lot in this map pool, saying that physically based teams are going to be looking into picking these rice maps. Every rice map in this pool will be physically demanding. Very, very tricky maps ahead of us. And I just want to mention the very end of the map does play closely to the start of the map, but does have those rolls mixed in at very high BPM towards the end. So definitely be on the watch for that. But that is Rice 3 out the way now. Rice 4 Jack is our next map in the pool. This map, 163 BPM, 2 minutes, mapped by the one and only GB Oceatus.
This will be Phantasmagoria, your more Jack focused pick, and 163 BPM Jacks. Yeah. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's going to be much severe of density of Jack. It's not going to be like crazy core Jacks or anything, as out of this early get-go, it's just mainly mini Jack focus. And yeah, it's going to be one of these more tricky to handle Jacks, where it's not really chord based. It's only 2s instead of 3s. I'm not much of a chord jack expert, so I can't really speak much upon what this would be. But it's more or less just harder to. Yeah, I don't know what the right wording is, but it would seem it's a lot harder to play than just a regular 163 BPM chord jack, man.
Yeah, this is definitely a tournament map. Just you could tell by the way it's mapped. This is jump jack for 2 minutes straight. You do have this slightly easier section in between, but instantly picks right back up. Now, one thing to take note of is these repeating doubles throughout the entire map. These things can definitely throw you off. Very easy to choke on. You gotta be on your toes when playing this map, but ultimately this is going to be a consistency test, and if you maybe haven't got the chord jack ability, but you're still able to play this BPM, then possibly a stamina test. But, you know, ultimately it is just jump jack at the end of the day. It is testing your consistency, it is testing your accuracy as the nature of chord jack is, and it does not let loose. Like I said, it's got a very, very small break section in the middle, but besides that, it is non-stop for the entire 2 minutes.
Yeah, and those don't look fairly comfortable to hit. So even if you're just not finding any comfort with jump jacks, I feel like this would probably be a top ban for the players if they are not one of the more jump jack players. As I know, definitely I'm not, but I don't know if there's anybody else that aren't really the biggest fan of jump jack. So even if you find those patterns uncomfortable, I can see this being on the ban list, not just for how stamina consuming it can be or how physical it is. But yeah, that will be your jack pick, Phantasmagoria. Heading into Rice 5, which will be your wild card dump based chart. It's going to be Search for the Butterfly, mapped by Alptrom.
Alptrom, very interesting username, maybe hard to pronounce at first glance, but there you go, I think you nailed it. This map, 2 minutes 30 seconds, 184 BPM, though that is a lie, because this entire map is mostly mapped on 1/8 and 1/12 beat dividers, making it around 368 and 549 BPM respectively. Now this map is very stream heavy, you know, that being a dump map, and it kind of is just pretty, I don't know, I guess we could say generic dump, right? This is what you'd expect from your dump pick in the pool. It's very roll heavy, very staircase heavy. It's got everything, and with these mini jacks thrown in the mix as well, can be a living
anchors.
hell.
I noticed some very short anchors on some of these dump sections, and in with the chorus now, where things do get a bit more stream based with some of those mini jacks as well. This is at 184 BPM, so not only are you gonna have to balance 368 BPM streams, but you're also gonna have to balance 184 mini jack, which is not much of a daunting task. Like I said, I know I'm pretty much kind of like a skipping record here if you are one of the more physically based players, but thankfully those sections don't really last fairly long, and we're right back to those bursty dump streams as you briefly touched upon earlier.
Yeah, the quote-unquote slower parts of this map, very flam heavy. It's got a lot of just denser patterns, which kind of, when you relate it into the Ki, sure, it's easier, but it's not easy enough that you can relax, you can get your stamina back, you can build up your consistency once again. If you've got nerves while playing this map, this is probably not the right map to be playing for you, because it's non-stop. And I think that's a thing I've been saying with a lot of these maps so far, is that it is non-stop, but that is just the nature of this pool. We are now in a high physical territory where almost all of these maps are brutal to be playing at a higher level. Now all these rolls and mini checks thrown in the mix at the end of the map, definitely very evil to be playing if you are on low stamina, but ultimately that is the entire map. That is the full thing concluded. 5.1 stars, very deceiving. Someone joining for the very first time would think this map's easy. It is not.
Yeah, in 2.5 minutes, so not the longest map in the world, but there is so much packed into this map. You just really have to just basically pretty much just keep the pedal on the metal throughout the entire chart, and you should be fine. And we are just cruising through this pool. We can head on to our 6th race map. It is going to be our Wildcard Classic, which is going to be Heavily Net Breaking World, mapped by the Kamui. And if you notice, this map is downrated 0.95.
Yeah, it was apparently way too hard to be base rate, which is a very scary thing to be thinking about. We are actually downrating maps in this pool because the original rate was too hard. Now this map being the race Wildcard Classic, the very first part of the map, very jack heavy. I think the main category of this map will be tech focused, with the intro being so jack heavy, but then later on in the map, as we'll get to see a lot more trills get thrown in the mix, split trills as well, and also towards the end, we will see a lot of jack patterns with split trills as you're playing the jacks. This gets out of hand so quickly, but before we get to that, we have this slight build up. That intro was just to get you warm, get you prepared for what's to come, and when it does, oh, it comes hard. It throws it right at you.
Yeah, there's so much just thrown at the beginning, but thankfully, you do have a bit of the time to breathe here before, I would assume, it immediately picks up the pace for the final half, and you can already see some flams, some graces, and ooh, those mini jacks. Yeah, that bridge before this drop, not the most pleasant thing to hit, and then we're back with the drop. This time a little bit more jack heavy with a lot of these dense mini jacks that I would assume that if they're mapped at 1/4, 218 BPM, not the most polite thing in the world. And then there's also those nasty trills. There's so much packed in this quarter, and there's still a quarter of the map left to go. That was just one part. There's still more. It's not over.
But that is the bulk of the map out the way. That was just outro from this point on, but the outro by no means is an easy task to do. And with this section being very stream heavy with a few mini jacks thrown in the mix, this outro is very different in comparison to the rest of the map, being a lot more stream and roll heavy as the outro comes to a close. Now this map, 218 BPM mini jacks with those one-hand trills on occasion thrown in the mix. This is, of course, going to be a very physical map. So going back to what you said about those other maps, if you are a physical team, perfect pick for you. I think this is actually going to be your best pick so far. But with race 6 out of the way, race 7 wildcard is coming in.
We now have 8 race picks. We added an extra wildcard pick. It is going to be Flandal. This is a collaboration between Odzo or OD or 0DZ0DZ and YuEast. And if you know Odzo, they are known for making extremely difficult wildcard based charts. They have been around in the Mania World Cup scene for quite a bit, and with personal experience, they can make maps that are extremely hard to FC. There's always the very tricky technicals patterns that have even some of the best players slipping up on. And adding YuEast on board to their chart as well, this is a recipe for disaster when it comes to just trying to keep your combo. But it looks a bit more easily physically demanding compared to some other wildcard picks, as you can see in the drop. Some mini jacks mixed in with some very weird snapped hand streams.
Yeah,
and,
the
oh my
singular.
goodness.
Oh, yeah, the higher BPM trilly patterns just thrown in there for seemingly no reason. Very easy to crumble on those patterns, and I swear this song is just idle, is it not? 3.5 minutes, and this map it really is just, it is consistent. It is dump for 3.5 minutes. So there's not much in this map that can throw you off per se if you are prepared for it. But physically demanding, yes, it is there. It ticks all the boxes. But do take note of these jacks in this section as well. With the difference in playing streams and jacks, your fingers, your wrists, the motion is different. You need to be ready, you need to be prepared, you need to know what you're getting into. Definitely not a map I'd want to be sight reading.
Yeah, this is starting to we're starting to reach that part of the tournament where you need to go in with knowing what the maps are. You just can't be winging it and just going on a sight read run, because there definitely are some players that are still around sight reading maps, and I think this is the part where if you just need to just look through the editor or play certain parts where you'll get the grasp of it, because these maps, if you go in on a sight read, you'll just be unexpecting insanely tricky sections, just like those right-handed and left-handed long jacks, and also just we just kicked it up a few notches with these maps in general.
Those jacks right before the Ki, be ready for those. And yeah, again, it's just so many jacks thrown at the mix here, along with the jump stream and hand stream. As I said before, it's an entirely different motion. Very difficult to be able to do, and wow, these different snappings as well, just thrown in there with the trills. Recipe for disaster right here, and now we are in the outro. I think this map definitely got a lot of mini jacks that you don't really notice at first glance, but when you see it, you start to see it. Mini jacks can be a huge pain in a map, especially like this with all the different snap dividers. And that is it. Flandal Rice 7 concluded. Very difficult map, 150 to 166 BPM. It does actually progress in BPM apparently. But Rice 7 out the way now. And our final Rice map of the pool to come, our Rice Extreme wildcard.
Yeah, you thought these maps were hard? Just wait until you see our Rice Extreme. It is going to be Le Denage, I believe, 1.05 rate by none other than Era Imperial, also known as Imperial Trinity. And I mean, 5.28 stars. Don't let the star rating deceive you. This map is a absolute insane chart, as like you said, wildcard, more dub focused. I would believe there's also lots of different snappings with as well. Looking at those BPMs, it ranges from 53 to 142. So I'd reckon those time snappings are changing pretty fast to kind of adapt to the BPM, or just to adapt to the density. But either way, here we go with our Rice Extreme pick.
Yeah, and this map, similar to Rice 2 or Rice 3, I think it was Rice 3 actually, 3 minutes, 49 seconds. We've not seen many 4-minute-ish maps in this pool, so this being the Rice Extreme, sitting at just about 4 minutes, really showcases this is going to be stamina, this is going to be brutal, it's just going to be physically demanding, as most of the maps in this pool are, but this one even more so. Straight into it, we get rolls right out the gate, and this, I believe, is snapped at 1/12 or 1/16, so very fast. If you want to hit it as a jump drill, you can. You will lose a lot of accuracy for doing so, but combo's combo, eh? At the end of the day, as long as you get there, this is going to be a stamina test with how these patterns are just consistent in general. And that log, though, with the mini jack on it, that could be a troll, I guess, if you're not ready for that one.
Yeah, lots of graces throughout this chart. And, oh, that transition out of the jacks into that little mini jump stream section. And here we are in with the main section. Oh, that anchor on your left hand that goes into the right as well. And these nasty bursts of dump. Yeah, this is... I would say this is a combo nightmare. Just focus on that accuracy, but I would say with this map, combo and accuracy pretty much goes hand in hand, as more of these anchors fly in, and having to hitting those other notes on the different columns as well will not be an easy task to do. But thankfully, you are rewarded with a break before you head into the final quarter of the map.
Yeah, and calling this map 5.2 stars is absolutely criminal. This is the hardest map in the rice pool by far, and we are only 3/4 of the way through the map. Those anchors, like you said, very brutal in that last section, but in the last quarter, I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised if I said the ending gets even harder. And this is the build-up for that to come. Prepping yourself for the last section of the map with this jack section with those little flams still in the mix. That is 142 BPM jack into these denser rolls, stair patterns, and back with the anchors, but now it's on 2 hands instead of 1. This is where it peaks in BPM and density. Oh my goodness, these one-hand trills with the rolls, the highest BPM that we have seen in this chart, and it's on the ending.
Yeah, just when your accuracy or just when your stamina is really starting to run out, let's just throw the hardest part of the map right at the end. Imperial did not hold back with this and really took Rice Extreme to a whole new level. It is crazy. But that will be your rice pool. There are 8 rice maps, and with that, we can transition right into our hybrids, which there will be 3. That will stay the same. And first up, it's going to be Destructive Little Sister, mapped by Critical Star. This will be your jump stream-ish based hybrid pick.
Yeah, this map is very jump stream heavy, has got a lot of one-hand trills, very focused on the one-hand trills, but also it being a hybrid has got those LN aspects. Has some sections which are very, yeah, like that we just saw right there. It just throws these LN walls right at you, and then straight back into Rice. And this is a consistent thing that you will see throughout this map, and these LN patterns straight into the Rice one-hand trills, very, very evil. So this map is only 2 minutes long, so once you get through those bursts, it does reward you with a break. And then just straight back into it.
Yeah, right back with these walls. It looks like they just mapped jump stream and then took it into one of those LN converters and just made it full LN walls. As just wow. Yeah, it's a pretty good contrast. It pretty much takes the word hybrid literally, and ooh, that transition into that jump stream, and here we go. Oh my god! It transitions from a dense LN wall, like hand streamish type section, to just a pure 248 BPM jump stream. This is 248 BPM, by the way.
It's just a constant LN wall, straight into Rice one-hand trills, split trills, back into LN walls, and it's just that for the entire map, so you know what you're getting into, but the patterns did not let loose. They go crazy. And with only a core of the map left to go, how could it get any worse? But knowing Cabario, this is just the speed of music he makes. This is deserving of a song like this. And here we go. It's the same formula, LNs, but now we've got these higher BPM bursts with those rolls chucked in. Yeah, again, just before the LNs, but in the LNs, there's also those Rice aspects, and oh my, okay, that ending is so chokeable. That is a position where you do not want to lose much of your accuracy, but unfortunately, on a pattern like that, that is just something that is unavoidable. And to chuck in right at the end of the map, all I can say is good luck.
Yeah, just good luck with Hybrid 1. Next up will be Hybrid 2, and I believe this is a very notable song. It is going to be Voyage 1969. Not the one that everybody knows. This one is a mapped by, or not mapped, made by Zune, which is the Touhou composer of music. This is your Hybrid 2, which is the Jack-based hybrid, and you can already see those opening shields with some very nasty. We're kind of bringing back that jump Jack we did have back in Rice 4, but just adding a bit of LN to it, and this one's a lot more uncomfortable to hit with now that you're balancing these LN releases that are practically just shields alongside this as well.
Yeah, and this map, in comparison to our Hybrid 1, is much easier, much more tame, though 150 BPM Jack while doing these LNs, I would say is more uncomfortable rather than physically demanding. So if you're good at maybe these accuracy releases, then this might be a good pick for you, though with these Jacks and shields, like you say, very awkward patterns to be hitting, very chokeable, very easy to miss. But ultimately, if you're comfortable on these slower maps, but more awkward, more uncomfortable, then this is a good map for you. And it's actually kind of interesting to say that, because this might be maybe the most tame map that we have seen thus far, though by no means is it easy. It is just, like I said, incredibly uncomfortable.
And seeing how this is only 150 BPM, it's not the fastest in the world, but it's just more or less how well can you coordinate these jacks alongside these shields. And this map is also, it seems like it goes on forever, but it's only less than 3 minutes.
It's OD7 as well. It's quite a generous OD to be giving on LN, though I guess it being LN Jack focused does make sense. And now we get another race section with these higher BPM rolls. And okay, this is this is where it picks up, I suppose, that build up before the final section.
In typical tradition, it just picks up in the end.
Yeah, it's just Touhou, isn't it? Progressive difficulty scaling. And wow, okay, very high BPM streams with the jacks thrown in right at the very end. Maybe the hardest part of the map right there, but I think, yeah, this is going to be maybe your release heavy map where accuracy will play a very important role. Hybrid 2 now finished, and moving forward, Hybrid 3 is up next.
Yeah, that will be our accuracy-based hybrid pick. It's going to be Karakasa Scramble, mapped by a very well-known mapper, Seimitsu. And oh man, that is a high star rating.
I think it's the highest SR we've seen in the entire pool.
Yeah, I believe this is our first dive into the 6 stars in this pool. And I would assume the reason for it is that this is probably a bit more long note focused, as this is not only is it more tech focused, but it looks to be focusing more on how well you can, how well your release accuracy is. And you can really see with this opening right here, with these very awkward like race LNs that have those really awkward releases at the end. And then there's just these technical patterns that it transitions into that you also have to hit. This is so much, nearly clocking in at 200 BPM as well.
Yeah, releases, yeah, again, playing another important factor with these bursts of just LN straight into Jack, and that index drill right there on different beat snap dividers. Very easy to lose your accuracy on, and this entire map with it being LN release focused as well, you need to be on your toes, you gotta be careful, you gotta watch out for all the LN tails, make sure you're releasing on time. But as it gets dense, as the Rice and LN are thrown at you simultaneously, that is going to prove to be a very difficult task to be able to accomplish. Now halfway through the char at a somewhat easier section, we still have these jacks thrown in the mix, but straight back into these difficult bursts.
Yeah, just these bursts are not forgiving at all. And here we go into a more LN release-based section with some nasty shields to accompany with how well you can release these LNs that are nearing like what walls are, but not really.
Oh, the jacks into the LNs look very challenging, but still a core of the map left to go. And this does seem very LN focused towards the end of the map. Accuracy being the main focus here, but with these jacks, with the shields, with everything that is in this map, very easy to fumble on any finals Mappool fashion.
And just wow, yeah, like once it starts, there's pretty much no signs of letting or just like slowing down. And wow, that right section right there with the trill, there's so much. Thankfully, it does kind of just slow down here, and that will be the outro to this map, and that will wrap up your hybrid pool. Fairly short and sweet, still with the 3 hybrid maps, and that will be your accuracy-based, tech-based hybrid. Next up is the LN pool, and we now have 5 long note maps instead of 4. We added a stream-based long note pick, which is LN4, but for now, let's jump into those LNs, starting with LN1. Our coordination pick, it's going to be Terra No Soul, mapped by Raisin.
5.5 stars. I think this is the average star rating of this pool, but man, star rating is so deceiving, especially in a tournament setting where a lot of these patterns are offset with different snaps, different BPMs, and especially LNs as well, with the way they're mapped. You know, in maps we see nowadays are 8 stars and whatnot. Those focus more on maybe the mini LNs and whatnot, but we don't get those in here. We get more release focus. We get longer LNs, tricky to, I guess, just hold combo on in general. You need to hold for the entire duration, and being as it's on Scorby 2, you do get rewarded for releasing and holding at the right times. Now this map is 2 minutes 20 seconds. It's very casual, I would like to say, but this is going to be a release-heavy map. So I guess not really meant to be too physical.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty much in the difficulty name. This seems like you could just treat it as like a timing hell.
Yeah, for sure. Those mini jacks as well. Oh, and on the 4th column there, that was a interesting anchor.
Yeah,
oh man, doing an anchor while holding on the 3rd column.
You don't really have time to release on these sections. You have such a short timing window, it is unreal.
Can't wait to
heading
see
into
the
final quarter. Yeah, I know there are still some LN beasts in this tournament that will absolutely treat this like clockwork.
Yeah, generally this map is just timing hell. Yeah, like I said, the diff name is just right there. You know where you're at, and with the ending, it is still there. These LNs being much longer than probably anything else we have seen so far in the map pool. And with these LNs being longer, that adds a whole other step up in difficulty, where you're not, you need to be much more coordinated to make sure that you are both holding at the right time and releasing at the right time. On maps that may have got shorter long notes, you don't have to worry so much about that because you can treat some of the long notes similar to Rice. But on a map like this, you cannot do that. And that is LN1 now out of the way. LN2 coming in, our density LN pick.
Yeah, it is going to be Homineko Sensation by Zeus17, and we're back in with the 6-star LN picks, and yeah, and already opening up. This is 216 BPM density, and it just immediately jumps in without any warning at all. Without any hesitation, it immediately dives into the density of this map. 216 BPM of this inverse LN.
Yeah, and this map, being the density pick, will play mostly like jump stream while holding maybe 1 or 2 long notes as you are doing so. So generally, maybe not the hardest to get high AC on in comparison to some of the other maps, but still going to be very hard to get that combo on. And also, the reading aspect of it just being LN in general is there.
Yeah, and it just pretty much just goes on and on. These inverse kind of base jump stream kind of LN. Thankfully, it is less than 3 minutes long, so you don't really have much time to make up for any mistakes, especially if you get it later on in this map, because you only have a little bit of breaks in between these very dense inverse sections. And oh man, that second, third, and fourth column while holding down the left column is going to be absolutely nightmare to hit.
I think I could see players getting high combo in this map in practice.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, doing that in lobby, maybe not.
Almost 4,000 combo, and we are only, and there's only 1/3 of the map left to go.
But yeah, I think this map just in general, like I said before, is just jump stream focused while holding 1 or 2 longer LNs. But just the concept of doing that adds a lot to the map. And there's still a quarter of the map left to go. Still, we're now approaching 5,000 combo on this map, and there is a quarter left to go, just under a quarter. Now this map is 216 BPM. So when we compare that to other Rice maps, which are, you know, around 270 BPM, this is so much slower, but that's not the main takeaway from this map. That's not where the difficulty comes from. The difficulty comes from the LN, the coordination, the ability to be able to do these streamy patterns while holding these long notes.
Yeah, and that will wrap up LN2, your density pick, and it is an insane map, almost 6,000 combo. But we can move on to LN3, which will be your Jack shield-based LN pick. And it is going to be Native Faith Memory of a Free Festival by Castella. And this is going to be your Jack / shield-based long note pick. And oh my goodness, that star rating, that is a jump.
Yeah, 6.4 stars. I think the other map we saw was 6.5. So this is a little bit lower, but still long notes plus Jack. I'm seeing a lot of Flam thrown in here as well. The intro was very... there was some jump jacks thrown in there, but overall, this LN pick nowhere near as physically demanding as the last two with regards to, I guess, releases in general. You don't need to worry so much about your accuracy on this one, I feel, being as it is not the main focus of this map. But it is doing these mini jacks into the long notes, rather. The streamy long notes. I guess it's more of a combo game on this one.
Yeah, it should. It looks to be more of a combo type deal, like you mentioned, and because I don't think it would be very tricky to act this map. There's just so much. You have to also balance out these releases with. Oh my goodness, yeah, those shields are not very forgiving. Thankfully, we have a little bit of a break section.
quote-unquote break section.
Yeah,
But still very difficult.
Wasn't that much of a break section, but
It was slower. It was slower. Halfway through the map now, and still non-stop long notes, non-stop race. Sometimes, some parts could feel like a hybrid, but still mostly just LN walls for 90% of this map. Oh my, the jacks. Right into the LN holes. These mini jacks really did not give you any time to recover at all. Miss one of these and you will most likely find some CB rushes in there, lose a lot of accuracy, find a lot of misses.
yeah, you really need to keep your misses in check. And I mean, like you mentioned, it is definitely possible for some maybe some tomfoolery to happen, some column locking, if you are not careful with these shields. As this looks like a slider break hell, as these are 165 BPM shields. Those are pretty fast.
This is actually a higher BPM than the jack pick itself, which was set at 163. Or 162.5 rather, so this is 2.5 BPM higher than the jack pick. So I guess this one is more focused on the LN than the jack. This is just LN with jack, I guess we could say. LN3. Now going to LN4. This is going to be our stream LN pick. Met by Imperial Trinity. This map, A Desire to Disappear, going to be more, as it suggests, stream focused, saying at 3 minutes 8 seconds, and this, on the other hand, is now the highest SR that we have seen at the Mappool, 6.79 stars.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense as this will be more stream-based, so it's gonna have a lot more long notes in general. May or less just to focus on that more stream-based, and yeah, we can see already. And this is 200 BPM as well, so just picture how fast those streams will be, which I would assume would just be 200 BPM streams, maybe 400 even if it's on 1/8. And there's even some cases of some like broken jump stream type walls.
Yeah, this whole map just looks like something on the sort of a rhythm hell. But not in the sense that the long notes are long and awkward, but rather, well, I guess they're awkward, but what I mean is you have to hold them for varying durations depending on where you start and end the pattern. And now we're in the key eye of the map where the LNs do get, I'd like to say, 2 times longer, adding depth to the map, making it more difficult to act in general. And still, I think we've now reached the average of 3 minutes in map length, and at least all the previous maps we've seen.
Oh my goodness, and as we are approaching the final third of the map, there's so much, and oh my, okay! Yeah, and you do get a bit of a calm down after that, but it's not really a break, I would say.
Yeah, this part actually is more of a jack section. I think this is the only non-stream part of the entire map. So maybe a break if you consider it one. But there we go. And that's it. That's the whole quote-unquote break done. Out the way. Into the last quarter of the map. More accuracy focused. Yeah, again, relying on your ability to be able to hit different long notes at different times with varying durations. I think that kind of summarizes the LN category quite well. Oh man, these one-hand trills.
Nearing the end of the map, and it just doesn't get easier. And it's over.
Blink, and you miss 3 minutes, 8 seconds of non-stop patterns. This is going to be something that I think players might struggle to keep their focus on. I like to hope at this stage in the tournament, people are going to be really locked in, get that practice in while you can, got a whole week of practice ahead of you. And on a map like this, that is where you're probably going to need it most. This is maybe the scariest map with regards to accuracy and timing, variation, consistency. LN4. And now, the last LN pick before tiebreaker. The LN Extreme Wildcard pick. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, this map is the only non-custom in the pool.
Yeah, 7.5 stars. We have hit the 7-star cap in this map. Well, I don't know if we hit the 7-star mark in semifinals. I don't think we did. I think the tiebreaker was like even just 6.8 stars. And yeah, like you mentioned, this is the only custom that or the only map that isn't custom mapped. And another one mapped by Castella. I believe they appeared earlier with Native Faith, Memory of a Free Festival.
Map 3 minutes, 48 seconds, and I think we only had 2, maybe 3 6-star maps in the entire pool. So the fact that we are now over a starting ahead of that.
And it's... yeah, this is an LN Extreme, definitely. As I could definitely see this being harder than all the past 4 long notes, as it kind of just mixes in pretty much everything. There's lots of shields, extremely dense, and lots of coordination patterns as well. I feel like Castella kind of just mapped what they're hearing. I feel like that's what they've done.
Yeah, here we go. This is a more Jack-focused section. I think this part, it's not fast, you know, it's very slow. But I think the fact that it's slow as well adds a factor to it. You need to kind of watch your timing, right? It's not on the classic, generic 1/4 timing. I do believe that is actually mapped on thirds. In this part, we get a lot of rolls with the long notes as well, and the releases are released at the same time, whereas the starts are on different timings. So that's another thing to be careful for. I think this actually, for the LN Extreme, fits perfectly with the slot. So much more physically demanding than any of the other long note maps we have seen thus far. Very stream heavy. Here we can see the shields, the jack part of it.
There was just so much, and the fact we're probably going to hit 7,000 combo, maybe even 8,000, depending on how dense this ending is. And oh my goodness, here we go! This is pure timing hell now, this section. And oh my goodness, if you full combo this, I'll be shocked.
I mean, the replayer is doing a pretty damn good job right now. 7,000 combo has been reached. Still more map to go, and look how long those long notes were. In fact, you need to be able to play these streams all while holding those long notes. Accuracy is going to be incredibly difficult on this map, and not even just accuracy, combo. This is incredibly physical heavy, incredibly accuracy heavy. This has got This is probably just the hardest map in the pool, maybe besides the tiebreaker.
And
Which,
without further ado, here we go into the tiebreaker. It is going to be Scattered Faith. I think everybody knows what this map is, or what the song is. Whether it's the loved map or just just the song overall. This is a collaboration, actually. I don't know who collaborated. All I know is that YuEast mapped part of it, but we'll give you the list once it's out. And 6.3 stars, apparently.
yeah, apparently 6.3 stars. This is a very well-known song. There's a love map. That is a jacked map. This is not that map. Same song starts, or rather, this map varies between 155 and 515 BPM. OD 7.2, and the intro we see quite, higher BPM stream sections, but nothing really indicative of how this map is going to go as of yet. Island Wall was quite interesting, I will say.
Yeah, and what is forgiving about at least the song is that there are lots of parts of the map where it's not really as dense as maybe some of the drops. And there are some sections where you can redeem your stamina, redeem your accuracy, combo, etc. And we are approaching one of the first, or like this section right here, not really the most densest thing in the world, just some fairly simple jump stream / single stream, which is fairly simple. But here we go, yeah. This is where things start to pick up the pace by just a tad bit.
Yeah, the higher BPM jacks in this section, and then we get the rolls and streams kind of just thrown in there on the faster parts. But really, yeah, this is first quarter of the way through the map. 8 minutes, still 6 minutes left to go. Nothing too crazy as of yet, but we all know Scared Faith. We all know how this song progresses, how the first Ki speeds up, and then the Ki after that is like much faster as well.
Yeah,
I am really excited to see how this map will scale.
Notice how this peaks at 515 BPM.
I think like where?
I believe that would be. Actually, I have no idea where the BPM increase is. I know there's one up ahead that transitions into the first drop. It kind of has. If you really want to compare it to Galaxy Collapse, you can, because they both have a very similar build-up, where the tempo increases into the drop. And here we go. You can kind of hear it slowly increase.
Yeah, this map is just Galaxy Collapse, the sequel, made by the same artist.
Yeah, and here we go.
Okay, right. It's pick it up. The long note staying pretty consistent. The pattern staying the same. It's just the BPM increase into the jacks and prepped for the first Ki.
Here we go again. Oh my goodness.
Long notes, streams, jacks. It's go. I think probably every pattern right here. And this is the slower Ki, mind you. And this looks pretty hard already. The LN burst.
Yeah, as I believe this is 250. I think I'm just taking a guess and shot in the dark. And oh my goodness, yeah, it picks up the pace.
A lot more LNs thrown in the mix. But still, I think it's kind of maintaining that Jack focus while playing these LNs with the slight stream speed sections. Oh, that roll looks very uncomfortable. Ending on the left hand. Definitely room for error on a section like that, but overall so far, that seemed to be pretty physical and consistency. Oh. And now, we've still got another section until the final Ki. Still a third of the map left to go. This map, need I remind you, 8 minutes, 18 seconds. If this map is not draining on your mental, it for sure is draining on your hands. This is meant to be the slower part of the map. Still fast enough to the point where you are not getting any breaks.
Yeah, fairly fast when it comes to the shields, as there are a lot more. And here we go. We're right back at it again. I would imagine it's probably the same as the first drop, but it is definitely going to pick up in pace when it comes to that BPM. Because, like I mentioned, it kind of follows the same structure as Galaxy Collapse does, where the first drop has an increase in tempo, and then the second drop goes faster. And it may not be as severe as what we've seen maybe in other stuff, but I don't know. We're going to have to see. This is very draining, by the way, as it goes on and on. And oh my.
Now,
yeah, a lot less long note focused, a lot more rice focused.
yes, the mini jacks. I can't remember what BPM this is off the top of my head, but this section right here, as fast as it is with those mini jacks, I don't think you even need long notes to make that difficult. That BPM, in and of itself, that is enough to make players miss. I think LNs maybe would have made that way too difficult. Way too difficult. But that's for next week, okay? This week, we've got 200 BPM mini jacks on the slow outro. I think at this point, you know the map is over. You know your match is concluded. Tiebreaker. Probably sweating buckets by this point. But that is the conclusion to an 8-minute map. Replayer missing on that. Please don't do that in lobby.
Yeah, and that is your finals Mappool showcase. We hope you enjoyed. If you have any issues with it, well, I don't know if we have. We do have a pool feedback in the Discord if you want. If you love it, if you hate it, what would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. That will conclude our Mappool showcase, and that will also conclude our this weekend. There are only 2 more weeks left, the finals week and then grand finals. So stay alert in the Discord for the schedules and all that jazz, all the stats, everything that you need. But for now, we will be signing off for now. Do you have anything else to close off the stream with, Nathaniel?
I want to say good luck to the remaining 6 teams in the tournament. And yeah, we will see you next week for those matches and then Grand Final Showcase.
Yep. Good luck to the remaining 6 teams. We will see you all later. Goodbye, everybody.